Let me tell you a story. Luxury is a choice. So if you ever feel like you're alone and maybe you look at me and think I have everything figured out, well, I don't. And I'm going to share a personal story that literally happened last night. um, okay, I, this whole trip to Thailand, these few months, I don't have any of it planned, okay? I had the first week, I was planned and organized, I had a place to stay, and I'm literally figuring it out as I go, okay? Part of me absolutely loves this. The other part, it provides a lot of really fun adventures. So I had met another female traveler a few days ago, and she had recommended this place to stay in Bangkok, and it sounded really awesome. And I was like, oh cool, that's kind of a fun, like unique little vibe, and maybe I'll go check it out. So I looked online and it really did have like a cool vibe. It had like this cool outdoor shower tub thing that I love. And I was like, okay, cool. And it was very, very inexpensive. Okay, now here's the thing. I really like saving money. Like really, I like saving money. And the thing is yes, is Thailand inexpensive in one sense? Yes. Has it been way more expensive than I anticipated? Yes. So for me, I was like, well, great, if I can save a little bit of money and get my lodging costs down to a little bit closer to what I actually thought I would be paying versus what I'm really paying in reality, I was like, great, I'll go have a little experience. So I booked this place. So my friend was flying out yesterday, but she was gonna come check in with me, take a quick shower, and then head to the airport. We get there, and the minute we pulled onto the street, I was like, I made a mistake. This is not a very safe area. This is not my vibe. This is not where I'm supposed to be staying. And I was like, what do I do? Like, what do I do, right? So I go check in, and it was just, and here's the thing, I'm an extremely sensitive person to locations, energies, all the things. And sometimes I forget just how sensitive I am, okay? And so with that, and just that my location and where I sleep actually matters immensely, okay? So I go and I check in, and mind you, I have a bit of stuff. Like, I'm here for a few months. I have some medical things. I have food allergies that I had to bring some food just to make sure that I had stuff, snacks and whatnot to eat. So I have a little bit of stuff. So I'm like trucking it into this little place, and my friend and I are just looking at each other, and I could just tell we're both like, what the hell did I do? So we get into my little like cubicle bunk thing, okay? And the outdoor shower thing really was cool. That part was like the highlight of it. The rest of it, I was just like, no. And this is where, you know, I kind of got into my head of like, Jamie, why do you do this? Why do you try to save money? Why do you think this is your vibe? Why do you, just kind of started like questioning and like more or less like berating myself, right? So I, put a stop to that negative self-talk, and I was like, okay, do I want to stay here? And I was like, ugh, no, I did not want to stay here. It's like, okay, so am I willing to lose this money and go find a nicer place? And I was like, yes, 100%. I will absolutely lose this money and go find a nicer place. Okay. So I started looking online, and here's the thing. Sometimes we have to be reminded of where our energy actually lives and actually wants to live. Because I went from this place that was like, pretty shady. Let's just be honest, it was shady as hell, okay? To going to like the Wyndham Ramada in a very nice part of town. And my friend totally laughed because she's like, watch, you're gonna probably find like a 4 or 5-star hotel in a really nice place. And I looked at her and I said, yeah, I actually am. And she's like, really? And I said, yes. She's like, oh. Because here's the thing, sometimes we feel like we don't deserve it, or I don't even want to say like don't deserve it, but like It's just like, oh, well, I'm fine. Like, this is me. Like, I'm always like, but I'm fine. I can sleep wherever. I can be wherever. I can do whatever. Yeah, I can. But is it the healthiest, best choice for me, my energy, my body, where I'm headed, what I'm aligned with? No. Okay, so I find this hotel, and was it far more? I mean, we're talking, here's a little bit of a price comparison for you. We're talking that, like, I spent on these 4 nights at this hotel what I was budgeting and planning to spend for an entire month of lodging in Thailand. Now, with that being said, that's just going to be the standard. Like, I'm going to be spending like 4 to 5 times as much as I plan to spend for lodging, okay? So I did some breath work around that, let's just say, okay? So I book it online. We call the taxi or you know, the Grab ride, and so I truck all my luggage back out through pebbles and rocks and dirt, like nothing's paved, okay? And everyone is just watching. And I'm like, okay, I feel kind of like a snobby rich bitch, like being like, this place isn't good enough for me. And I was like, but is that the reality of the situation? And I was like, no, because for a lot of people, it is a good vibe. It is fun. It is inexpensive. It does allow them to meet other people, and it allows them to have this opportunity to travel. And that's awesome. Is it where I'm at in my life at this point? No. So I go and I ask for my key deposit back and just say that I'm checking out. I don't ask for a refund. I was totally okay to just be like, nope, I'm making this choice. I paid for the nights and it's fine. And, you know, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion of like what was happening. And, you know, just between like language barriers and whatnot, there wasn't a ton of conversation. It was just them watching and looking. I did have one, I don't know if she was the owner or a manager, but she did come out and was just like, oh, are you leaving? And I was like, yeah, I am. I'm just gonna go find another place. Anyway, so we chatted for just a second. Anyway, so we get in our ride and we start heading to this new location, and my friend and I were just laughing because, I mean, there was part of me that wanted to cry because it was bringing up a lot for me. A lot of what am I no longer willing to accept as my standard? Like, what am I really willing to step into another level of luxury and living and standard? And can I and will I love myself through that? And there were just a lot of really funny things in that like 30, maybe 40 minutes at that location. My friend was not so keen to be showering outside. So she was feeling really grateful that I picked a different place. Okay, so we get to this place, or to my new place. Instantly, I'm like, oh, this is a much better, much safer part of town. Okay, phew, good. And I go and I check in. And so for those of you that don't know, I'm also a travel agent. And so sometimes the way that deals work for travel agents is that it's not a booking thing online. It's like directly with the hotel that you can ask for the travel agent discount, and then you give them the right information and they'll give it to you. Anyway, so we're checking in, and I ask them, I'm like, oh, hey, do you have a travel agent? Whatever. They don't. I was like, okay, that's not a problem. Like, I just thought I would ask. And then she looks at me, she goes, but I'll give you an upgrade and a higher floor. And I think, I don't even remember exactly what she said, but I know she said higher floor. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Anyway, so we go. Friends, I am literally on the 25th floor, which is the top floor, okay? Only the rooftop is above me, okay? I am in a suite that has an upper level loft, has a kitchen. It legit has its own washer dryer. I don't know if you can see it, it's like right back there. Its own washer dryer. And the minute I walked in, my whole soul was like, it just exhaled. And I was like, this is in alignment for me. And that's what I want you to think about, and to just kind of check in. Because, you know, as much as I love saving money, and as much as I'm like, I want things as cheap as possible and everything, there is also this place where it's like, no, there is an investment, and there's an investment to be in alignment. There's an investment to figure out what you need for alignment. And in some ways, I feel like I figured that out for myself, but this was a different level, and I really did very much feel like it was a reset point for me as I am booking the rest of my stays while I'm here, because I've been trying to book lodging for the next few weeks, and I just kept going back and forth of like, well, do I spend the money? Do I save the money? What do I do? And this was my, I don't know the right word, but like just kind of like that reset point of being like, no, I'm gonna choose the places that match where I'm headed and what I want, and I absolutely know the money will show up, because it always does. And that's the beautiful thing, is that when we live in alignment, when we choose to trust ourselves, and when we make choices based on where we're headed, and I'm not saying being reckless or, you know, spend unwisely, but what I'm saying is when you are showing up for yourself, and you're choosing what is in alignment with who you are, where you're going, what your energy needs to thrive, the money will show up, hands down. It always does, it always has, it always will. Not just for me, but for my clients, for other people. And like I said, for me specifically, knowing that I'm extremely sensitive to locations and housing and lodging and all these things, I needed that reminder that this is one way that I can put myself first, so that I can show up fully and from a place of overflow. Because there's a thing, the minute I walked in, I have felt more calm and more peace than I have the entire 10 days that I've been here. That doesn't mean that I haven't been at peace or that I haven't felt okay, but there was a different level of like, oh, I can actually show up at a higher level because I have the right support of where I'm staying. And this is a really, really beautiful thing, because every other place that I have stayed in these last like 10-ish days, they've all been good, other than the one that I didn't stay at. But when I checked into like, okay, can I show up for my different companies in this location? It was always like, well, yeah, but like there was just this little bit of like this sinking energy within me that I was just like, ugh, okay, but it just didn't feel right. When I think about showing up in this location, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like I can do this. Like I feel supported, and I feel like what I need and the resources that I need to be successful are here and will support me, and that I will be able to get the help and support if something is not working. Okay, so with all that, I would love to hear if you've had a similar experience, if you are sensitive to locations, if you have ever felt this where you're just like, you undervalued yourself in an attempt to save money, and how you're going to choose to value yourself more, even if it does cost you a little bit more money. So I would love to hear in the comments, and I will talk to you soon.